Topic 1 for today is refining the job search. Let's be real. And the person who's facilitating that for us today is Madison Braim. As I previously introduced her, Madison is one of the project officers for ITA the Future. Madison, I'd like to hand over to you for your session. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. And I will just quickly turn on my video now. It is nice to virtually meet you all, and thank you for coming today. I would like to start this session with a quote from Stephen Covey from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And that is, before one starts, one should have the end in mind. We all know that the job search can be a time-consuming and often a long process. It's more of a marathon than a sprint, especially when we are trying to get our foot in the door, whether it's the foot in the door of our desired industry or a foot in the door to any industry for that matter. And what I hope to cover in this first session is refining the role you desire and setting small steps on what you need to do to get there. Not everything will be possible immediately, but having a vision of what life can look like provides a powerful and even essential requirement for creating our future. For one thing, this will allow us to examine our immediate goals and priorities and assess to what extent they contribute to the future life that we imagine possible. So I'm going to start with looking at 3 groups of job seekers and what we might need to consider. And as I go through these 3 groups, just see if anything resonates with you or if you identify with maybe 1, 2, or all of the groups of people, and if any of this resonates with you. So I will start with group 1. And group 1 is people who want a specific role and we're hesitant to settle for anything else because we are looking for the dream role, and that is 100% okay. Sometimes we dismiss an employment opportunity. We decide we don't want to apply for or engage with a particular job because we are fixed on a certain position and want to step straight into that dream role. Let's use psychology as an example of this. And the reason I've chosen psychology is that is my background. So if we are saying we want to be a psychologist working one-to-one with people in a school setting, for example, it might seem undesirable to work in an administration type role because we want to be a psychologist working with clients one-to-one. So if that is our goal, how do we get there? We first might need to look at what are the qualifications that someone needs to become a registered psychologist. If we do have a qualification or we're working towards it, what do we need to do to maintain that qualification in the area that you're wanting to work? And is it in date or is some upskilling necessary there? What area of psychology do I want to work in specifically? And I'll just go back. I am using psychology as just an example here. So this could be within any industry that you're interested in. Psychology could be replaced with marketing. It could be replaced with law. It could be replaced with any other industry. So when I'm saying psychology, if you have an area in mind, put that in mind in place of psychology here. What support would we need to work in this type of role? And what roles might give you beneficial experience relevant to this career path? It might not be the dream role, but it's a step in the right direction. And what support roles sit around a psychologist or are linked with this industry that might get your foot in the door and begin to build your professional network within that industry for this one, psychology? Starting within a support role within a psychology or related clinic might be a step in the right direction and get your foot in the door whilst you're completing or updating your studies. And it will allow you to start to build your professional network and gain valuable experience with co-workers, managers, and industry professionals. And in this, it's really important to start to build those connections with people within the industry that you're wanting to break into. When we're getting started, it's really important to start to step on the ladder of employment and work your way up each step to where you want to be. We often don't start at the top of the ladder, and we have to take small, measurable steps to get there. The next group that I'll talk about are people who are unsure of what direction we want to go in, or we don't feel that we have the experience to start stepping in the right direction or any direction. We're just not sure where to go. Perhaps you're not sure what your dream job is, and that's okay. In this situation, we can still make the job search work if we have a look at the roles that you've done in the past. I use the words roles here instead of jobs or employment to expand horizons, because the roles that we take on in life give us valuable experience that we can then bring into the workplace. If we talk about roles, it could be a role, whether formally identified or not, in a previous study group, a volunteering or mentorship group, a workplace, or a family unit. They're just roles that you have taken on. For example, within a volunteering group that you're a part of, do you naturally take on, or have you been nominated to fulfill a certain role with that group? It might be the organizer, the promoter, a shoulder to lean on, and perhaps this role that you have played in a group, it could inform what type of work you might enjoy or look for, and start to identify those strengths. It doesn't have to be a forever career. It's a step in the right direction based on what you know about yourself, and you know yourself the best. The group 3 that I would like to talk about is people who we don't want to get out of our comfort zone sometimes. And it's a big, brave step to step out of that comfort zone. Sometimes to get the job, build your network, and create your future opportunities, we need to get out of our comfort zone in more ways than one. This could be trying something new in terms of job roles. It might be the physical location of the office is somewhere you've never been before. You might see a job ad and see that it's located somewhere that you're not super familiar with, and that's okay. Let's talk about that. It might be with people or a group of people that you haven't worked with in the past, so there's a little bit of discomfort in that, and that's okay. Let's talk about that as well. When we're embarking on a new role, it's important to remember that it can be daunting, and that's normal. And there are supports that we can work with to make this transition smooth and manageable. I'm not going to talk a great deal about the supports and things that are around in this workshop, but I will mention that in our next workshop on the 5th of July, we will cover some topics of job access and orientation and mobility around the workplace in more detail. And I just wanted to mention at this stage of the job search, it's really important to expand your horizons and consider opportunities that may be a little bit out of your comfort zone, knowing that there are supports available. So I'm going to give we are having another workshop on the 5th of July where we will cover some of these topics in more detail. So they're the 3 groups of people that we are working with in Eye to the Future, and you might identify with one or more of these groups of people, whether it's you're wanting a specific role and you're not really wanting to go for something else. And that's okay. The message is getting your foot in the door and building your network is a really important step in the job search for any of these groups of people. Getting your foot in the door and starting to work your way up that employment ladder or into the workforce. The next thing I want to talk about is, I'm sure a lot of us have opened up a job website, and I know I've certainly felt this myself. Hundreds and thousands of jobs might come up. if we're not specific in our search, it can really quickly become overwhelming and tiring when so many things come up, but we're not really sure what they mean or how to filter these effectively. So once we've worked through and clarified what role is right for us based on what I've spoken about above or earlier here, once we've clarified what role is for us and we've given consideration to the boundaries that we put on our job search, we can make the job search websites work for us and not against us. Based on the information that we've spoken about at the start of this workshop, we can use this information to narrow our search and look for opportunities that are relevant and of interest to us. As a job seeker, we can create profiles on most job websites and enter information that will inform the types of jobs that come through to your inbox or into your profile. We can filter these by keywords, industry, location, hours, and many, many other filters that we can apply. And going back to the example that I said before, if you were looking for a role in psychology, you could include keywords of organizational psychologist if you're interested in the psychology of how businesses work. It could be a school psychologist or any other type of psychologist or any other industry role that you're interested in to narrow your search. Instead of just searching for the one role, can you be a little more specific in that role to filter those results that come through so you don't end up overwhelmed with hundreds and thousands of results coming up and not knowing where to start? And all of this, it won't happen overnight, and the job search, it will take time. Unfortunately, we can't change this, but what we can control in the job search is our mindset, where we put our energy, and setting goals into the desired role and making the job search work for us. So that is the closing, the end of part one of our session. And Nick, would you like to jump back in?
Thanks, Maddie. Thank you very much for that really informative session. And I'm sure everyone will agree that there was some really great information that you've provided. So thank you for that.